Hello, this is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com. You can check out my site for tons of free tutorials. So let's get started here. What I did is I started a thread in DeviantArt on art critiques. So I'm offering free art critiques to people. And anyway, so for some of them I do paint overs or draw overs and stuff just to show like some corrections. And they're done really, really fast, but they get the point across. And so I'll go ahead and work here with you guys and show you, maybe kind of share some of my thought process. So with this one here, I'm sharing my thought process is that there should be more contrast in the picture. There's not enough change between darks and lights. The second thing is that the body here, the legs look short to me. So if you kind of draw through them, they're going to be foreshortened a little bit, but they should come down to about there, and then the calf and everything should come down, and the feet should be more like here. That one goes out farther like that, and then comes down. So that side seems right, but this leg here should hang down further. And other than that, everything is. I might as well leave that there because that's a part of the critique. So just kind of showing that it needs to come down further. And then just basically, it's just all this needs to be bumped up more. And you can tell the light is like everything's kind of being backlit and top lit a little bit. So all this needs to be in shadow over here because it's not going to be receiving any light. Only really the top of the branches are going to be receiving light, and the darkest darks will be on this under parts and the back parts over here. And I'm going to pick even a slightly darker color, get even darker darks. Same thing with this person. Most of all this person would be darker. Let me go ahead and pick their color. Most all that would be darker, except for the wings, but I'm not going to bother. Some of the face would be lit up, but all this hair back here would be dark. A lot of the body back here would be dark. And so you still kind of show some of the form. And actually this right here would be light. So you want to lighten all that right there up. And just make a new layer actually. All that should be lit up more. A little bit on the side of the face, a little bit the tops of the hair. So the person should be a bit more like that. And maybe even push darker tones into a lot of this. More color variation in the trees too. You don't want to just use browns. Use like blues and all kinds of stuff. So this should be more like that, and then finally, you should really have some more darks, and all that area should be darker. I'm not going to do it too much darker, but more like that. And then all of this up here, I'm just going to kind of add some contrast to it by doing that, and then maybe if I set this to screen, use a light color. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be contrasty. Let me try overlay. Okay, so let's try normal. No, dang it, hold on. I'd go to the actual layer itself maybe and use an overlay brush. That's kind of more the thing I was going for, but let me try using a color. I don't want it to be too overdone, but you get the idea. Maybe a little bit over there more. Some parts coming through. Having this contrast though, this is going to be what makes the image. Is when you have, it's going to look a lot more dramatic and a lot more contrast in this leaf here. Not too, actually the leaf is, now that I think about it, it's going to be pretty see-through. And let's go here. Use an overlay brush. It's going to be a lot more see-through and more like you're going to be able to see a lot of the orange and whatever color it is, you're going to be able to see a lot of that kind of coming through. I'd have to paint it like that though, and then you'd have like light coming through it. And you get the idea anyway. I kind of destroyed all that by adding too much to it. Let me see if I can erase this layer. There we go. But still, I want to make sure this all here is dark. Like I said, very quick. I usually spend a lot less time painting through. This one just has a lot more stuff to go through. And then you want to add, some more contrast in here and stuff. Some dark and lights and a couple more contrasts up there. And that will pump the whole image up. I would also add more contrast to the whole back. Well, it's going to get kind of dumb. Oops. I wonder it was working weird. My brush was still set weird. That's why I wasn't getting the correct results in this layer. Now oops, almost cussed pretty bad there. anyway. This whole hand will be darker. So something like that, and already, add more detail and stuff, but already if you just kind of start painting it like this, and then, add some color variation, like I said, that's a little too much. Just a very little bit of color variation goes a long way. And I would add a little bit of green into the tree branches and stuff. Not much, just a little bit. And then, maybe a little bit of reds. Very little though. That's probably a little too much, but you get the idea. I'm working with weird layers, so more contrast all up there. So actually, yeah, that was right. Anyway, so you get the idea. And this picture is going to take a long time to get all looking the way it should, but something like that, and then, more brights back there, and some cool sky peeking through. Maybe you can have some light rays peeking through, and you'd like be able to see them, and so you would be able to like see some light rays peeking through, but anyway, get the idea. Great, so that's that one. Let's move on to the next one. So I spent 6 minutes on that one. I usually spend like 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. So this one here, there's a whole lot wrong with it. Coming, from the form to just everything needs to be studied, form and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is supposed to be, I don't know if this is space and this is a space rock, or if this is supposed to be water, but it doesn't look anything like water. It looks more like it's supposed to be space. But anyway, first thing is the whole thing needs to be pretty much redone. So first thing is form. All this should be, darker, because it's all being like, I don't even know where the light's coming from, if there's any light coming from the back, but he should all be darker. It looks like the main light is in front of him, so he should be more like a silhouette, if anything, because he's being backlit from that side. But let's say there's a little bit of light coming, from over here on this side of him, that is toward us. And that little bit of light would add some form. That's right, I'm going to multiply. Let's go back to normal. You want to add color variation everywhere. This whole side of the rock would be dark anyway. This whole rock would be really dark. Very little of it would receive any light. You might have a little bit of light hitting part of the rock. The rest of the dark would be pretty dark. There'd be a little bit of light hitting him. Actually, not that much light though. Just a little bit, so it's kind of lighten up with this lighter blue color. A little bit of light would be hitting his body, the neck, a little bit of this arm over here, and so forth. And so that's the idea with form. I'm not going to really go too far with this, because like I said, there's a lot of problems with the whole picture. But the main thing I wanted to show is anatomy is very wrong. So this should be, you want to think about the anatomy. So you have this whole back muscle here shape, which kind of comes down like this. Also the front of him, this is the back view, so you only can twist so much here. So you want to kind of follow through as if this were a butt first. And then imagine the tail being attached to this, so you'd actually see the side view of the tail and the bottom of the tail. So that's how you'd be seeing the tail. It'd be like that. And then here it can twist and wrap around like that. See, so you're seeing like the underside now, so it looks different. And this would be some of the underside here, but that'd be like the side. Anyway, you want to kind of do it more like that, so you can show a gradual twist around. The anatomy here, you want to kind of focus on the anatomy, so you have this muscle here and the muscles down here, and then you have your shoulder, which actually starts from over here and wraps around over there, like that. So you want to show the shoulder. Then you have the two muscles here for for the back of the arm. And you have the two bones here and the middle bone. This comes out like that. And you have the skin wraps around. Thicker forearm. So to show the thicker forearm coming down. Dang it. Like that. Let's go back to drawing him. You have this piece that comes up here and it wraps around. Comes down like this. You have a couple muscles in here. Again, there's a piece that comes up here, wraps around, comes like this, and comes down. And there's a couple muscles in there. Sometimes there's three. It depends on the person whether you can see them or not. There's a little diamond here where the muscles come off here and off here. But drawing it with anatomy in mind, you can really change like the way the character looks, and then you'd have some, scapula comes like this if you want to show the scapula here and here. So that's where the scapula would be if you want to show that. Right. So I would also think about this arm, even if it looks like it's going that way forward, so that's why you can't really see as much of the arm. But I would still I'd change his body to just a little bit different shaped, like the arm there for sure. I'd bring the shoulder out a little bit more like this. I would twist his whole body this way more. Oops, I meant twist him around this way more. That way we're seeing more of the straight view. Anyway, there should be less the body here and more over here, because I guess he's trying to go for a 3/4 view, but not quite, like he's turned a little bit that way. Definitely pay attention to how the tail will attach to the body from the back. Right, so without going into too much more time, I already went another 6 minutes almost. That's that one, so there's still a lot more that can be corrected though. Right, with this one here, it's just a matter of studying the human head. So from the side view, you want to think about the human head is almost as wide as it's tall. So you kind of start with like a square, for example, perfect square, and the head's going to just extend down a little bit further than the square, and come out here. And then you'd want to draw the face into this area here, and the ear would be like over here somewhere. Even if you're only going to draw part of the head, you still want to make sure you do all this. And come out with the nose, then come out with the mouth here, and eyeball comes back further. Cheekbones right about here, comes down forward like this, and I'm gonna okay, so I would lower the whole face. So I'm trying to think how to do this. Oh, I know an easy way to do it. That's right, I already drew on the whole damn thing. Well, let's go ahead and do this then. Take all this and let's drop it down to where, maybe something like so. Now kind of bringing back all these colors here. And the head's going to kind of come back like that. And you'll have the hair. Hair has thickness to it on both sides of the head. You will see a little bit of the hair sticking out that way and going out this way. And then, do the hair however you want. But it has thickness to it, so you want to keep that in mind. And it would come down that way, whatever. So anyway, if you kind of think about the face shape more like that, it'll help. I want to bring that back a little bit more. So let's go ahead and see the original one again, so you can see what needs to be fixed. Let's do here. Oops. So you can see what needs to be fixed there. Alright, so I think this is kind of interesting one to work with. And so the first thing I recommended is to make the hair pull less detail in the hair and also make it darker. So you want to have like darker parts, darker values in the hair to kind of break it up some more. And definitely make it less detailed. So first when you paint it, kind of paint it like this as if it's cloth or something. And then you want to add some of the background colors into it as well. But what I would do first, I just kind of paint it like I'm painting cloth first. Yeah, kind of. Then after I have the form down, where I make hair look like it's a form, an actual shape, only then do I come in and start adding some details. Like I start breaking up the strands and kind of showing there's detail. And I'm just trying to break up the individual forms to kind of show this detail, and then I might add a couple light strands, a couple dark strands here and there to kind of break it all up. And I kind of like you give the illusion that there's a whole bunch going on, there's all kinds of detail and stuff like that without actually having to do it all. This part of the hair would receive a lot of that color light into it, and because the light's strong from that backside, and there'd be a strong backlighting here. And so I would show all that also in here, but without it being the color of this. I might to be more yellow. And then I might, have a couple more bright spots of hair and bright colors. And we get the idea. I don't want to spend too much time. So next is I would take all this and tone it down. And notice just by toning the shadow down a bit, you can make it look like it's less, it's not like sticking out so much. Because, oops, let's get this color here. You don't want this to look like that vein just it really doesn't stick out that much. And so you want less contrast. This is one of the cases where you actually want less contrast between it. This would probably come all the way back, and it's actually wrong. It should come down and meet up with this here. Like this bone comes down and meets up with this kind of. And there's going to be a little bit of a lighter spot in here. This whole part would probably be kind of darker too. And then I would add just a little bit more brightness to the breast here. Not much, just a little bit. And over here as well. And I would make sure to add in the color of your light source. So make it kind of yellowish. And then if it's too yellow, you just come and add a little bit of white and kind of mix it up a little bit. I would add a little bit more darker shadow between the breast here to kind of show the line differentiation between them. And the same thing with over, I would take all this and pull it. And the main thing I was also talking about with her is that, or whoever did that, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, it is actually, is the shoulder muscle comes over here like that. So knowing the shape of the shoulder, and that there's another bone that comes, the collarbone comes up here, but we won't be able to see it. I just want to show where it goes. And that collarbone's supposed to come down here. I want to kind of fix this, make it look like where the collarbone should be. Notice I'm not even worried about the necklace and stuff like that. I'm just kind of painting over all this. The same thing with the shoulder, all this part. Because remember the shoulder, it's like shaped like this, and it's coming back, oops, it's coming back around over there like that. If I draw this in thinner pencil, it comes around, it's shaped like that, comes around over there. Same, this shoulder has that same shape right here, comes around, comes like this. So you want to know the form you're dealing with, because if you don't know the form, you won't know how to shade it. So it's really important to know the form of what you're dealing with. So just maybe draw a little bit like that. You don't want to draw the whole thing. Just draw some of the shadow coming that way a little bit. A little bit of highlight would hit this crease here. Since she's mostly being backlit, I mean obviously there's more lighting, but this is all lit wrong because, so you notice all the top planes, everything's lit, so all the top planes of this dress should be lit. It's almost as if the dress was taken from a different photo or something, and different photo reference or something, and so that's what messes it up. So this whole top plane should be lit, and it should come down to where it's, and then all this over here would be darker, and then this right here would be darker too, but all this top plane should be lit quite bright. This whole underplane here wouldn't be lit very much, and all that probably wouldn't really see the sun hardly at all. So it's gonna be lit more like that, and that would fit it better. This back part of this underarm is actually going to receive probably a lot more backlight since there's all that light over there. And that whole part right here probably is going to receive a lot more light. Then there's going to be a saturated part of the skin right here, and a saturated part here all around the shadows. There's going to be saturated skin. So anyway, we get the idea. This whole side of the face is this whole side of the face is going to be a lot darker. And in fact, a lot of the face is facing away from the light source, and so I would color it more as if it's facing away from the light source, and all this is more away from the light source, so I make it a little bit darker than it is on that side. And now you have more form. Alright, that's that piece. Move on to the next one. So I thought this is one we can really learn a lot from. So the whole thing is just, it's not, the lighting is not good. But the drawing is actually pretty decent. It could be better with some perspective work, but I think it's pretty darn good. But this here, that's the problem. That's what it suffers. So what we do here is we'll add some color. Set this to multiply, and I'll add blue first to the whole entire thing. Use flat brushes, use hard brushes. Don't use, I didn't mean to say flat, but use hard brushes. Don't use soft brushes when you're doing metal. Only use the soft brush when you need to make a gradient on a flat plane. But for the most part, you want to use hard brushes. I don't want to spend much time on this, otherwise I'm going to be taking a long time on this particular piece. So I'm just going to try to fill it in really quickly, even if that means it'll be a little sloppy. You'll get the idea. The general idea will be there. Okay, so this will be like the kind of mid-tone. I'm not going to worry about making them different colors and stuff. That'd take too long. I'm just going to show the basic principles of when you're drawing. So you can start like that, and then you get a little bit darker. You're also going to want to, change the, think of the whole guy as having some sort of shape. So first, I want to think, let's say, the light is like a 3/4 lighting, just because it's nice and easy to do and looks nice. So it has a dramatic feel to it. Might be a little bit more dark on that side. And at this stage here, what I might do is put this underneath, change it to normal. This will be easier. Change this layer to multiply, and we'll work underneath them. That way I can take a lighter color and start working in. So notice I'm not even paying attention to all the shapes right now. I'm not all those little shapes. I'm not even paying attention to none of that right now. All I'm paying attention to right now is like the overall form of the shape, and I'm trying to get that down here first. And when I have the overall form of the shape, and then I'll start worried about the whole top planes are going to be hit more. So once I have that worked out, then I'll worry about individual shapes. So I kind of have all that worked out. I might go a little bit darker here, more saturated for shadows. So you just start thinking about what parts, it's all about form, and to understand form I have a whole course coming out on form, and it's going to be out anytime now. It's all finished, recorded, it's all uploaded. I just have to write the sales copy for it and stuff. So basically I'm just working on the launch, and it's almost ready to launch. So I'm just working on other launch stuff. That's all out of the light. So this guy has a lot of individual parts, so you'd have to think a lot about how these individual parts would be lit and so forth. Think about flat planes and all that kind of stuff. Right, so anyway, I'm just working quickly here. I'm going to use this big brush like this now. I forgot to add shadows on the side, underside of the arm, underside of all this would be in shadow. All that would be in shadow. This here would be as bright. I would add even darker. Oops, this should be weirdly saturated, desaturated rather. So think about, parts that are furthest away from the light, and that gets the darkest. So I'm trying to make a kind of a pale color here that I can start lighting all this up with. There's going to be some bounce light and some of these shadows and so forth. This is just way too detailed of a picture to really go into the detail I want to go into, but I want to at least show the basics of what I'm talking about. Might be a little bit brighter color there. That's where you might want to use a soft brush if you can't blend it good with these brushes. Think about underplanes where the light that's turning away from the light. All the underplanes that are turning away from the light aren't going to be as bright as the top planes that are facing the light. Think of cast shadows being casted. So if you're really interested in form, check out my form course. It goes through all this kind of stuff. It'll help you be able to paint things that look 3D and pop off the page like you never thought you could before. You'll be doing things you never thought you could before, and understanding things you never thought you would ever understand. And you're like always wondering, how do the people get stuff look so 3D? Like, what the hell? How do they achieve that look? I want to be able to do that. You will be able to do that. So, anyway, get the idea. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, like I said. But the more time I spend on it, the better it would start looking. And as you can see, the more time I'm spending on it, the better it's looking, because I'm just bringing out more and more details. And so that obviously looks a lot better than the weird pillow shading he had. And let's go ahead and look at that again. And we'll set this up here. So that's the painting he had. And notice a lot of soft edges here. You don't want a lot of soft edges. They don't look as good as nice hard edges. And so work with your hard brushes. Don't move to a soft brush until you need to make a gradient smooth, and you just can't get it smooth enough with your hard brushes. But start big brushes, and then work big flat brushes, and work your way down to pointy brushes and smaller brushes, and all hard brushes, and then finally start using soft brushes for the final little bits of gradation that you need. I know this looks pretty sloppy, but you can see if I continue working at how much more effective this is, because you have the form in there, and it's the form that's going to make everything pop out and look 3D and look cool. Maybe his light is turned on and has a little bit of light lit up here. And I would just add little areas like that with his little lights turned on. So it's like, okay, maybe he has a little light here that's turned on. And it's kind of radiating outward and kind of illuminating some of the stuff around there. Anyway, so you get the idea. Maybe this one's turned on too. It kind of illuminates some of the stuff around here. Get the idea, right? And so that looks kind of cool when you turn the little lights on. I don't know if they're supposed to be lights, but it's kind of cool if they were. Anyway, so yeah, just do that. I know I spent a lot more time on this one than I did on other ones, but you get the idea of hopefully what I'm trying to say. Form is so important. Master form, folks, I'm telling you. And you just keep noticing things that need to be done. You work in steps. I should teach a step method that will help you work with forms so easy it'll blow your mind. You'll be able to draw and form much easier than you ever have before, because you'll be able to do it in stages where you're not having to think about a lot of stuff at once. You're able to work in what I call kind of like a layered approach, but you don't have to work with layers. You can do it with pencil and paper. So I don't mean layer approach as in Photoshop layers. Anyway, you just keep bringing out the form. Alright, thank you for watching. So that was just a quick couple paint overs that I'm doing for the thread. If you want to get some critique on your work, go ahead and join the thread yourself. It might be kind of hard to find, I guess. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to show it to you. It's like here, but how can I show this page to you? Okay, what I'll do is I'll go like this, and here's the link up here, forumdeviantart.com/showcase/thumbs/1781314. That's the link. And maybe I'll just put that link. I'll copy that link and I'll put it into the video description. But I don't know if I'll remember. Anyway, there you go. If you enjoy my videos, then please subscribe if you'd like to, see when new videos come out. Also, if you want to have videos that are longer in length, I know I made a few long videos here recently, but I'm really not going to be making long videos that much anymore for the YouTube channel. The longer teachy videos are going to go to the VIP members. So if you want to join that fun, I'll hopefully do one about once a week. And just go to my website, masterpaintingnow.com, the link's in the description. Click on exclusive tutorials, and then that's it. You just pop in your little email address and hit submit, and then you're part of the elite group. You're part of the VIP of master painting. But anyway, also put the website in your signatures and stuff like that. If you enjoy the site and you learned a lot from it, then help other people find it so they can learn too. Basically, pay it forward. All right, thanks.